Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar, and welcome back if you joined us yesterday or earlier this week. We're so excited to have you for the last day of Netelixir University's third annual event, #SEO Week. Today, we're focusing on creating an SEO strategy for 2017 and beyond. I'm Julia, your host and Netelixir University coordinator. We are so excited that you are able to join. Before we get into the webinar, I want to go over some housekeeping guidelines. Any technical difficulties, be sure to punch it into the question bar on your GoToWebinar panel, and we'll address those issues as soon as possible. And then also, if you have any questions during the webinar, be sure to also punch those in because we'll have a live Q&A session. All right, now before we get into the webinar, here's a little bit about Netelixir. We're a team of 100+ fanatically analytical search marketers operating in 3 countries. To the right, you can see some of our clients. We are a preferred partner of both Google and Bing, and ultimately our value is to combine our expertise and our proprietary technology to help businesses get found, convert visitors to customers, and acquire game-changing consumer insights. Here's a little bit about what Netelixir can do for you. In this first column, you see our services. So we offer services such as paid search and shopping management, SEO, and also paid social. We also have technology products in the form of our Elixir. We have free search marketing tools for small business found at our Elixir marketplace, and also paid tools such as our Elixir guide for small businesses. We also offer consulting services such as web analytics, digital marketing strategy, and on-demand tech support. Here's a little bit about our speaker today, Hala Ali. She is our SEO manager at Netelixir. She's been in the digital marketing field for more than a decade and specializes in SEO with a focus on mid-sized retailers. Prior to joining Netelixir, Hala worked with leading pharmaceutical firms and sites like Club Wyndham. And as I discussed earlier, today is day 4 of our #SEO Week event. If you missed any of our earlier webinars, be sure to check your email because on Monday we'll be sending you a link to all the recording and slides. And with that, I'll also be sure to share any of your learnings with #SEO Week. And as I mentioned before, we'll be giving away freebies every webinar. Today we have a free mini SEO audit. This is great to answer any questions that you may have on SEO. If you go to the netelixir.com/audit, the link that you can see at the bottom of the screen, we can get that right to you. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Hala.
Hi everyone, thank you for coming to our SEO week. This is the last of our webinars and we hope that you find it as insightful as you found all the others. Today's webinar is basically a consolidation of everything that we've talked about. It's about understanding the SEO changes in the landscape. It's about the mobile first strategy. It's about the user experience and how you can bring them all together to create a strategic path forward. Before creating an SEO strategy, you have to understand what SEO can do for your business. It's essential to know what attributes you will be giving to SEO so that when you do the analysis, you actually have all the data in hand. So the SEO strategy must be based on your brand voice and corporate culture. So before we go into the webinar, there's a small poll that we have, and the question to the audience is, what type of traffic do you want? Do you want a brand to drive branded traffic to your website, or would you like to rank for most of your keywords? Okay. So it seems most of the people here would like to see their keywords to rank well, and they do not focus as much on brands. Now that's where the problems are arising in the SEO world today. With constant focus on keywords, you do not realize that you're losing out on a lot of traffic. There was a recent research done by Bay and his associates which focused on search engine optimization and what drove traffic, organic traffic, to retail sites. it actually suggested that in the current landscape, it isn't necessary to be a big brand to succeed in SEO, but consumers must perceive your brand to be of higher quality. When retailers focus only on the keyword and do not focus on their brand, they are actually having a negative impact on their viewers. So how do you actually achieve success in SEO? SEO success is dependent on the quality of the website. What determines the quality of the website? The quality of website is determined through the brand awareness. If you're not perceived to be a big brand or even a brand in any way, you are just one of the thousands of retailers in the industry trying to get themselves known by the consumer. So what sort of impact does that have? The first impact is obviously that the consumer interaction with the website goes down. And then the indirect effect emerges from the SEO rankings not being given preference. So how do you utilize that? How do you create that SEO success when you're only focusing on your keywords? So you really have to understand what drives organic clicks. When you're creating your strategy and you're focusing only on keywords, you're not focusing on your brand. So how do you drive that organic click? The first is obviously that you do want to rank for your website to rank in the search results. However, statistics are showing that if the retailer is not ranked within the first 5 pages of the search results, clicks are being reduced by 90%. A lot of you will say, well, that suggests that we should be focusing on our keywords. However, the fact is every 1% improvement of ranking leads to 1.3% improvement in click-through rates. Again, validating the theory that keywords are important. However, a secondary value that we're seeing is that brand quality is what search engines are ranking. So if they perceive your brand or your company as a brand and not an unknown retailer, they will rank your site better than others. So in the SERPs, what's happening? Brand is versus SEO. You can see from the results given on the bottom of the screen that number 1 for the keyword dresses is Lulu. Not many people may know the brand, and when you look at it, it's really stuffed with keywords: party dresses, club dresses, casual dresses. And the second result is dresses for women, shop the latest styles, Macy's. A savvy searcher will actually click on the second ranked position because it's perceived as a better brand. I'm more likely to go to a department store I know, I can trust, then click on some retailer that I do not know. So brand or SEO, what do? In SEO, e-commerce retailers will never gain a sustainable advantage by only ranking on keyword improvement. They'll actually be participants in the zero-sum game. Wikipedia describes the zero-sum game as a mathematical representation of a situation in which each participant's gain or loss of utility is exactly balanced by losses or gains of the utility of the other participants. So basically, you can keep ranking keywords, but you're never going to get anywhere. It's going to be a very myopic view of your path forward. So the brand value is the SEO path to success. For long-term SEO growth, brand equity becomes the underlying value of success of any retailer strategy. Without having a brand voice in the digital landscape today, there is no way you will be able to succeed in the long run. You can rank for keywords for 6 months, a year, but without a sustainable growth, you will not be able to continue that ranking. So how do retailers create an SEO strategy focused on brand? If you're interested in creating a successful SEO strategy, you have to ask yourself a couple of questions. Are you looking for immediate short-term growth, or are you looking for long-term sustainable growth? Meaning, do you want to cash in now, or do you want to be in it for the long run? Do you have a budget to sustain growth over the long period? A lot of small businesses are only there for about 2 years because they cannot sustain growth. Again, in the dynamic SEO environment, we're seeing 200 and more algorithm updates. Can you keep up with them? So do you have a myopic tactic in mind? You have PBNs, you have a lot of other link building factors out there where you can manipulate the search engine. It's a game, right? You can manipulate it. Are you focused on growing your business consistently, or do you want to have short-term growth? Finally, and the most important, do you have a vision and the patience to successfully navigate the SEO landscape of today? SEO is a long-term process. You will not get immediate results. However, if you have a proper SEO strategy in place that is based on your brand voice, you will be able to sustain that growth over the years. So it really depends on what you're looking for. So as we go forward, how do you create a sustainable SEO strategy? So rankings are really fickle, right? Long-term sustainability of SEO makes more sense. Since algorithms are constantly changing to make the UX better, the user experience better, focus on your user. That's the first priority you should have. Forget the ranking, forget any position changes. Just focus on your user. So if your strategy is focusing on factors like page titles, it's focusing on technical optimization, that's fine. That is what you should be doing. However, incorporate a lot of brand value into it. We recently had a client that we were just discussing who has been in the business since the 1800s. They're in a very niche industry, and they're actually an authority in their own business. However, within their meta titles, they're keyword stuffing. They're just talking about their keywords, they're talking about their product, they're not talking about themselves. As we started optimizing their website, we helped them gain a sustainable advantage. We focused on the fact that they've been in business since the 1800s, and they've seen phenomenal growth because of that. So while you need to focus on SEO, you actually need to know who you are. So then, in the second step, be technically optimized. Know your website architecture. Build your architecture for your user. You have to understand that every other retailer in the business, in your industry, is trying to gain that competitive edge. So to gain the competitive advantage, you have to stay ahead of the curve. You have to know who you are, be clear on that, and stick to that, and you will see better growth. So user experience becomes the focal point. Google recently advised businesses to base optimization decisions first and foremost on what's best for the visitors of your site. They are your main consumers. They are consuming your content and using the search engines to find your work. Focusing too hard on specific tweaks to gain ranking in the organic results may not deliver what you are looking for. So unlike SEO efforts designed to improve rankings in a search engine, SEO efforts to improve a retailer's brand equity can actually improve the clicks more. So you really have to know what you want. Do you want short-term growth or sustainable growth? So now we go into creating that SEO strategy, a broader view of that. You know that you want sustainable growth. What do? First, you focus on ranking of keywords. No, I'm not contradicting myself. We're going to really focus on keywords from the brand voice perspective. We're going to focus on keywords from your demographic understanding, and then we create that attribution funnel for SEO. So how do you focus on ranked keywords if you're focusing on your brand? First, understand that when you focus on competitive keywords that have a high search volume, you will not provide your consumers with the right value proposition. Search terms should be chosen for their value to your business. For example, you have been in the business since the 1800s. That's your USP. Focus on that. Don't focus on keywords that are competitive. Use those keywords to support your unique selling proposition. Research has consistently proven that a narrow search query provides better value than the average broader search term. So understand what you will be doing with the keywords that you find. Then create your brand voice. Research is again showing that consumers are actively searching for a specific shopping product. They're more likely to focus on brand-related searches. We had a client that we ranked consistently #1 for their brand. However, the #2 brand we saw was Amazon. We saw a year-over-year decrease in their organic search traffic because Amazon was taking the clicks even though it was ranked on #2. Why? Because users were more familiar with that brand. You have to know that your brand is your business. And if you go into SEO with that perspective in mind, you will succeed. So what does it mean for the small and mid-sized retailers who may not be well known? get yourself well known. Retailers should create a 3-tier SEO strategy. Number 1, find out your keywords. In front of every keyword, write your brand name. Then focus on the long tail keywords. For example, if you're in the dress industry, you have whatever brand name you have, add the keyword dress to it. Then focus on the long tail. You have work dresses by whatever brand. Then the 3rd tier is adding your head keywords there, because even though you're focusing on the long tail keywords, you do want that search volume to increase. Now you need to understand your demographics. You have to know your audience. If you are talking to 22-year-olds, you should have a completely different voice than you would be talking to a 45-year-old. So the age demographics are important as well. We know that research is suggesting that the age group 55 to 75 is clicking more on the paid ads. Tailor your strategies for that. The 22 to 45 are more likely to be organic savvy, they're search savvy, they're clicking on the organic results. They'll go deeper into the search results to get what they want. So create that 2-tier strategy for paid users, get a landing page specifically talking to that age group. For the organic user, optimize the rest of your website to ensure that they get what they want as well. So what would then be the attribution? How do you determine your SEO's program? Where's the real performance coming from? You have to understand that SEO is a consolidated strategy. It cannot work alone. It's not standalone. You have to create a brand voice. The content should reflect that brand voice. That content should then be marketed on social media with the same voice. Paid ads should come into it because they can cater to the head terms while your organic is catering to the long tail keywords. You then have the user experience, you're understanding your demographics. Then you're redesigning your website to cater to that brand voice as well. You want your users to navigate the site very well. Then you're giving them a good user experience and allowing your search engines to find you by technically optimizing in terms of SEO as well. So while SEO is the basis of your strategy, all other aspects of digital marketing come into play as well. So how do you measure the impact of SEO? No strategy is effective unless and until you're actually measuring it. You may make a certain change in your design. Is it working well? How do you know unless you're measuring it? Once you set out your strategy, you have to put in what aspects of the strategy you'll be measuring to understand whether you're effective or not, whether it's a good strategy or not. How are you going to tweak that strategy to give you the best results? First of all, you have to know whether search engines can find your website. Is the quality content that's needed there? Have you optimized properly with the metadata? Is the website accessible for indexing? Have you written in semantic language? We discussed ranked brain a couple of times in our previous webinars, and that is definitely a ranking signal. So the site should be technically optimized for changing algorithms. Can people find your content? A lot of people, naysayers out there, think social media is not important. Social media is the gateway to your content. That is where the people are going to read about your content. If you're writing 5 blogs a day, great. You're putting that on your website, wonderful. How does anyone know that content exists? That has to be done through social media marketing. Is the user experience good? Find out, do A/B testing, use the tools out there. We have Optimizely, Crazy Egg, tons of good, great tools that will allow you to test whatever tweaks you're making to your website design. Finally, is the website valuable for search engines? What makes you as a retailer different from all the other retailers in the industry? What's your unique selling prospect? You should have a consistent brand voice across the channel. That is how the search engines are going to find you. That's the semantic language that will allow search engines to make the connections. Social media mentions, natural backlinks to your content, no technical errors. That is how Google or any other search engine out there is going to perceive a regular retailer as a brand. So the basic fact is you have to make your website discoverable. Discoverability now is not just optimizing your website, it's understanding that discoverability has become an eco-culture online. It's not just a form of technology, it's a culture. The impact of the various channels for your industry have to be understood. You have to achieve this discoverability by maximizing on your own value. What is your retail value for the consumer? Think beyond keywords. You also have to look at SEO as the link to all aspects of digital advertising. If you just focus on SEO, you're not going to be discoverable. This culture of discoverability and then working towards a cohesive way to bind the various digital channels is important to create that one roadmap towards success. So when we're working on a roadmap for a practical strategy, you may ask, what's the role of the SEO agency? How do you start the process of SEO with an SEO agency, and what is the advantage of that agency? So the SEO agency will actually help you identify all the technical issues your site may have. They will conduct that website audit, SEO audit, that will make your website accessible and indexable. They will do the competitive research and identify that search query and optimize your website for the relevant queries. They will help keep the SEO consistent with the brand voice. You should know your brand voice when you're coming to the agency. You may get help creating that brand voice, but they will not make the brand voice for you. They will keep you updated with all the algorithm changes. With 200 changes taking place a year, you have to know where your value is. Do you want to spend all your time doing SEO and keeping up with the changes, or do you want to do your job and create your brand voice? Then you have to understand that you have to create the relevant data attributions. Without tracking, without the data analytics, there's no way you'll know what the ROI is for organic search. Really, what can an SEO agency do for you? What it can do for you is it'll conduct an audit and identify the SEO roadmap moving forward. That's the basic summary. If you've ever been to England and been on their subway, you have heard the term mind the gap. Everybody says it, just mind the gap. You're getting on the subway, you have to make sure you don't fall into that small hole they have. The SEO agency will work in a similar way. You have your strategy in place, you have your brand voice. They'll mind that gap for you. They'll fill that gap and help you understand how to move forward by taking advantage of it. So that's how you create that strategy. This case study I'm going to be presenting will be very specific to what we did for a customer or a prospective client who came to us and asked, well, I'm doing great in my digital strategy. I'm making a lot of money, but I'm not doing so great on SEO. So what's happening here? What can you do for me? So we conducted a site audit for them, and we came up with these findings. For the customer's privacy, we blacked out the name and the different keywords they had, but we did a quick citation flow and trust flow check. This is to check what sort of authority they have on the digital web, how many backlinks they have, how many people they're linking to. And what we found is compared to their competitors, they had a very low trust flow and citation rate. The backlinks they had was very low as well. So that was one flaw in their strategy. Google and any other search engine was not making the correct connections. They were not seen as an authority in their domain. So moving forward, we did a backlink audit, and we found that they had around 8% potentially toxic backlinks, which is they might be from directories, from mirror sites, from de-indexed sites, a lot of other factors that are taken into account. And these had to be causing damage to their authority. Then we did a year-over-year comparison in terms of organic sessions, and we found that they'd gone down almost 23% in the past year. We checked out all the keywords they were ranking for, and this took a lot of analysis in terms of data. We had our analytical people going crazy on this, and they identified that the one keyword was being affected. For a lot of other keywords, they'd seen an increase in revenue, an increase in sessions. However, for these specific keywords, they were seeing a decline. So that was for us a red flag. So then we tried to check out the time of decline and what effect it had on the revenue. And we noticed that it was around in the time period May that it started decreasing. And from there, it just started going down. For this specific client, we actually saw that for just those key terms that they lost and those sessions they lost $1 million in revenue every year. Then we plotted them against the algorithm changes that had been taking place. And as you can see, most of the algorithms had a negative effect on them. So we realized that we have to check more of their algorithm. Mobile audit analysis, we conducted that and we saw it fell flat, especially where images were concerned. Images weren't being properly compressed and their JavaScripting was all over the place. So they really needed to compress that JavaScript, compress the images to meet the guidelines search engines were laying out. So the whole algorithm analysis revealed that Penguin had affected it. That means their backlinks were causing them penalties. They were not a secure site, which has become a ranking signal for retailers today. Panda, which is the quality content update, that actually saw some sort of recovery, and when we asked them, they had updated their content. So that allowed them to recover. Again, the Penguin mobile update took place twice in that year, and of course, it affected them negatively. So then what can we do for them? We set forward an SEO strategy. We gave them two options. You could base their strategy for improving the trust and citation score on the competitors, or we could create a custom strategy. If we did it for the competitors, we'd analyze the competitor links, where they were marketing themselves, what sort of demographics they had, what types of links they had, and we tried to get the same score. Otherwise, we'd focus on their USP and create a custom strategy and social strategy that they could follow with their own team. Then we could help improve their backlink profile. We could do a complete analysis of the backlinks they had, remove all the potentially toxic ones and the toxic ones, create a disavow file and upload it in Google, and hopefully remove their Penguin penalty. How would that improve the organic traffic? All technical issues would be handled. We'd give them recommendations for JavaScript improvements, image compressions. We'd go into their Google, follow all Google Webmaster Guidelines to make sure all the scripting and development was improved, do an in-depth audit to continue fixing their on-page content, etc. We then conduct a mobile audit as well and help their speed and performance improve, since mobile first is the only way forward. We would identify the organic growth opportunities for them. So while they're 1 to 3 rankings, if you can see that from 4 to 10, 21 to 30, they have a lot of positioning for keywords. We would focus on that, focus on their brand voice, and help improve that position through different tactics. Then we lay down the 2017 goals for them. We make sure that they become, through their own budgets, the mobile-first user experience. They expand their organic share in traffic, create better targeted landing pages, help create that marketing strategy for them across the channels, use analytics to help them gauge where their revenue really lies, and then minimize traffic decline by ensuring all algorithms are kept up to date with. Again, expanding on that organic traffic share, analytics becomes essential. Without analytics and analysis of their competitors and the user experience, they could not improve. So taking that into account, we would look at their analytics, check all the seasonal trends, prune any index pages that need to be pruned, create those strategic link building opportunities, monitor their backlinks, and then help them move forward in 2017 to get better revenue. How do you expand that keyword targeting? You target not only the high value keywords, you target the low ones. You target the brand keywords as well. We could recommend, we won't target the brand keywords for a lot for SEO, but you should focus on that for PPC. We might focus on some semantic keywords for mobile users and separate ones for desktop users. So it just comes into creating a more comprehensive keyword targeting strategy. So how do we measure success for them then? So obviously we take the overall integrated traffic trends. We find out which channels are working for them and we start to track them. We combine the direct, referral, and organic traffic sessions and move forward. We focus on visibility. What are the top 3 keywords for them? What are the top 20? What are the top 10, top 100? And we try to constantly improve that. We focus on keyword ranking reports because, of course, while we say you shouldn't focus on ranking, that is what is going to make your users, your website visible to users. And then you benchmark that in Google Analytics against the industry growth compared to competitors. We've seen for a lot of our clients that saw a drop in organic traffic, it was consistent across the industry. Their competitors had that drop as well. But then we tried to find the gap. We tried to find where that sweet point lay. How could we make it work for them while it wasn't working for their industry? So helping identify what's not working and what is working is a key strategy for SEO agencies. So what happens then? Then we make recommendations. We focus on your website, competitor analysis, and for this specific potential client, we recommended that they should leverage Facebook. They had a lot of images, they had a lot of social conversation going on, and we said we could create acquisition campaigns for them to drive new traffic to the website. We could create retarget campaigns, so if people dropped off, we could give them ads on Facebook when they were interacting socially with others. And while this may not increase direct revenue, it creates that brand voice. People come to you and say, oh, you know, I saw this ad on Facebook, maybe I'll check out their website. They're out shopping for a dress. Unconsciously, they remember that. They remember that ad they saw on Facebook, and eventually they land on your page. So on a daily and weekly basis, we do a lot of work. We continually do technical audits. We do long-tail keyword research. We do detailed backlink audits. We focus on page speed and performance. We don't do much link building, but we help keep an eye on the links you already have. We do keyword density analysis, and then we also help generate content. In all, we create that comprehensive, cohesive strategy needed to succeed in the digital world today. And that is all for me today. And with this, we end this Netelixir SEO Week series and hope you find it helpful.
Great.
And here you go, Julia.
Thanks so much, Hala. So I just want to remind everyone we're giving away a free mini SEO audit to answer any of your SEO questions. I actually just sent the link to everyone through the chat, so be sure to check that out. And now we'll move along to the question portion. So our first question is it better to have your brand name at the beginning or end in your title page?
I would suggest have it at the end of the title page for the simple reason that when Google is searching for keywords, it's looking at the beginning rather than the end. If you consistently have your brand at the end of the title, it'll make more sense because people will see that keyword and then they will see your brand and make that association.
Great. Next question. Why is social media an important aspect of SEO?
While there are a lot of naysayers out there who say social media does not have a direct effect on marketing, the fact is people are making millions of YouTube. They're making millions of different strategies, and if they can make the money, there is some value there. So right now you don't see that direct attribute for marketing. However, that does not mean that you're not getting that unconscious effect. To create a brand strategy, you need to get known out there. And since people are talking in their social forums, they're talking with their friends in those social marketing platforms, you need to be there so that when they're talking to others, they talk about you as well.
Great. Thanks, Paula. I just want to remind everyone, if you want to type in a question, it's right on your GoToWebinar panel. And then another question that I see just came in. How often should I update my SEO strategy?
The SEO strategy should really be tweaked consistently from the data that you get from the analytics. If you see that there are certain gaps that it's not being as effective as it could be, you update it. However, otherwise, if you think things are going well, I would update it quarterly. Look at your quarterly goals, have specific ROI in mind, and then move from there.
Great. Okay, so that looks like all the questions that we have for today. Thank you everyone for joining us at this week-long event, #SEO Week. We are so excited to share all of our knowledge with you. And if you have any questions at all, be sure to email us, university@netelixir.com. Thanks, guys.